What is going on, everyone?
It's a revolution. It's a revolution.
Welcome back to Young Controversies. This is Devin Roberts, and I am happy to be with you here again today to talk about my opinion, and this one is kind of interesting. I'm kind of making this a two-parter. One, how much should you believe everything I'm saying in my podcast and in these videos, and in general? And how much is fake news a problem in our modern day way of living and consuming information daily, I guess. So, without further ado, this is Young Controversy, and welcome. Now, first thing I want to talk about today is how much you should believe what I'm saying. What I mean by that is just that I have made a point that I am trying to bring facts and information into my podcast and into my YouTube that is accurate and that is backed up by actual statistics and actual stories that I have researched personally. But with that being said, everything I say will not be exactly accurate. I haven't had any big complaints on anything I've said, so this isn't like an apology video of any kind. But people are going to start wondering how much they can trust me, and what I want to say is I do personal research for everything I put out for the most part. A lot of it is my opinion, and I'm going to state when things are my opinion on this channel, but that doesn't exactly mean that doesn't mean everything I say is going to be right 100% of the time. I expect to print retractions. I expect to print retractions. I expect to print retractions. I expect to have issues that come up where I'm not going to be able to provide 100% of the information, or where I'm going to have to give more of my opinion and less of the facts. But I will make a commitment to trying to share when I'm doing that what is my opinion and what is fact, and allow everyone watching me to know so that there's no confusion. I guess that's just something I wanted to put out early when doing this channel so that people recognize where my feelings lie on that point of things, or at least how much I'm researching into what I'm doing. I'm putting in effort, I'm checking my sources, I'm checking statistics and facts. And I've also been looking into politics for a while now. I'm only 22 years old for anyone watching, but ever since the, year and a half before the Trump campaign, politics has been almost all I've been interested in. I watch ridiculous amount of videos and talk show hosts and political commentators. I watch everything Trump does, and I research the news that I talk on. So I may be giving my opinion on a lot of it, but no, I'm at least backed up by some facts, and I'm open for anything you guys are saying. Anything you disagree with, I'm happy to discuss with you guys. You can leave comments down below or respond to things I'm saying on my podcast over on anchor.fm/podcasting. If you haven't been here yet, go check it out. But if you see anything that I say that's inaccurate, or that doesn't seem right to you, or that you want to correct me on something, feel free to message me and I will pull something down. But the reason I said all that is because that is not everyone in today's society. Actually, it is almost no one. Fake news and stories being printed too early is so unbelievably common nowadays that even researching news, it's hard to comb through all the ridiculous propaganda and crap that is put out there about the Trump administration, by the Trump administration. If you haven't, I did a video or recorded a video, I hope I put it out by now, if not, it's coming soon, but a video about NRA propaganda that they had put out and sent to my house, talking about different issues that I might have. Do I like Trump? Do I like the Republican Party? How much do I support gun rights? Do I support gun control? They talked about politicians drawing lines in the sand against each other, which just unbelievable amounts of propaganda. And you see that in every kind of media and news source, your emails, your articles, your newscasters on the air, on TV. It is unbelievable, and I think there are very few places and people who are willing to kind of not necessarily stay in the middle, but try to give an honest, open opinion, have a good dialogue about it. I think one of the only places that you're able to find that is on social media and on things like podcasts and like YouTube, where you're finding me and other creators like me who talk about this stuff, because not only is the dialogue open, there is no place for margin of error. There's no place to hide. When you're a newscaster, if 40% of the people that watch you disagree with you, or if you say something that is heinously one-sided and your watchers are, let's say you say something heinously against Trump and you're a liberal news media, your watchers are also against Trump, so you will keep getting support perpetuating that. But if someone online puts that out, people are going to attack you from both sides. It's too much of a conglomerated melting pot for anyone to get away with as much extremism. Not to say that the two sides of the extremes aren't loud and boisterous in what they do, but I think we're all starting to see that we have to come to a middle ground, to a center line with all of this propaganda talk, all of this fake news, all of this attacking the other side that has become so common in modern day politics. And I preach this so hard, guys, but it has to be the job of the media and the podcasters and the YouTubers and the CNNs and the everyone that's sharing the information. The reason Trump calls the media the enemy of the people is because the media has become irresponsible with how it handles giving information to the people. Media used to be about facts, it used to be about getting information in front of someone because that's what they wanted. Now it's about writing a story, and while you'll see throughout this whole thing, I love telling stories, there's a time and place for both. You're very rarely going to see me have a political podcast where I have a story that is aimed to push an agenda in my podcast or in one of my YouTube videos. I just don't think that's genuine. I want to tell you stories about my background and about my life, but I don't want that to affect where I push or where I persuade your political opinion. I want it to be two completely separate things. I want you to hear my political opinion, but I also want to talk about things that have happened to me in stories and my history, so you kind of get a full grasp of who I am as a person. But that's just my opinion on the whole thing, guys. I think fake news is rampant. I think it's an unbelievable big issue, but I also think it's difficult for people who are trying to get news and absorb news to put out like this in YouTube or put out on a podcast. I think it's hard for them to discern what's true and what's not, because huge media companies, huge news sources that you would normally expect to put out something viable and trustworthy don't. Then smaller media companies and smaller magazines and smaller podcasters wind up copying their article content and what they're doing and what they're putting out and start putting out similar stories when all the facts aren't exactly out there. I think we saw that through the Brett Kavanaugh case. I think we've seen that through the whole Khashoggi issue that's gone on recently. And I'm really excited to see how the death of modern media, how the death of TV media and traditional media persuades or fluctuates that kind of balance. We're in a huge time of fake news, a lot because of the internet. So as the internet starts taking over and as digital media starts getting to its peak and echelon, what are we going to see? Are we going to see more fake news? Is it going to be demonized by people online so much that it just becomes a figment of a bad period of time in American history? Is it going to be demonized by politicians so much that we only trust very specific people? Or are we just going to keep getting more divided, which might be what I expect? But I want to leave it with you today. Comments down below. I'm Devin Roberts. This is Young Controversy. Anchor.fm/podcasting if you haven't checked us out yet, for more political commentary and news stories, trending topics, and interesting things that I want to talk about. But for today, I'm hoping you all had a good time. I had a blast. Peace.